What's up, guys, and welcome back. Last episode we got the Supra running. It fired up, it built a little bit of boost, it did cool things. It needs a few things before it's drivable. One of those things is an exhaust, so that's what we're breaking into today. I've got a wastegate I'm going to be welding onto this manifold so that I can control my boost, and then I might even start mocking up a downpipe for the turbo.
Start it up.
Alright, so I ran to the hardware store and I got some hole saws. I got a hole drilled into this manifold. I've got the V-band on here mocked up just so I can make sure that when we're in there, we just barely clear this flange here. We clear everything. Should be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna bust the old TIG welder out again. I'm gonna start getting this thing on here. Hopefully I can get it welded on and done before it's too late. Alright, so I've got the wastegate tacked on and I decided to put the manifold on just to check some clearances, and it's definitely tight. The oil filter housing is, I mean, ½ inch away or so. So that leaves me to weld this V-band flange the rest of the way on and put it back together. All right, another one off the list. We got this attached. Another thing I would like to get done is this exhaust needs to be there. So I got some 3-inch exhaust pipe and I've got a grinder and a welder. So we're gonna see what we can come up with. Hopefully I can get something decent, something pretty out of the way and down and out of the car. I got it tacked up in there, and unfortunately, I guess I just didn't realize how close I was to the frame rail. So I could go over this way an inch or so, maybe even 2. I like this a lot better. As you can see, there's a lot more room between the frame rail there. It's not almost touching, and it's really not too much closer to anything else. I'm going to get a couple more tacks on that, get it a little more shored up, and then I can start fitting up the next piece. So we've got the downpipe right there, and with that, I'm going to just use this other 90 I've got. With another 90 here, just coming straight down and straight out, it looks like it's gonna line up pretty decent. Looks like we're gonna have some clearance over top. I do have a bunch of room in here. As you can see, all the way back through here is going to be pretty well just a straight pipe. All right, now that we got the downpipe on and we got the straight back on, it is ready to start getting it out the back bumper. So I already started mocking things up. So here is the downpipe I had all welded up, and I just used a straight piece to come back. After that, I used a 45 to tuck over. From here, we've got another 45 that I plan on doing like that. And then we've got some straight that's gonna go under that notch in the rear subframe and all the way out the back of this thing. We're gonna be putting hangers in. There are factory hanger locations on the chassis, and since we're following the factory location of the exhaust, should be easy to just throw some hangers on the exhaust we're fabbing up. Got this thing a little bit higher off the ground on some jack stands so I could get a better look at this exhaust, just because in the back I was thinking I was gonna need to do some crazy stuff. but it's looking like it's actually going to be pretty darn simple. It is just barely not touching right now. And I was thinking that here I was going to want to cut the top and bend it up a little bit to get it closer over here. When I got to looking, there was less than a finger's width between the CV axle here and the exhaust. So I decided that this is probably fine. I think I'm going to leave the exhaust right there where it's at, and I should be able to tack it all into place, throw a hanger on it because there is a hanger mount on this rear subframe. Since it's looking like we'll just be able to put that exhaust up as it is, I'm gonna jump down there, I'm gonna push it up, make sure it's as high as I possibly can, and I'm gonna throw some tacks on it. On the front of the rear cross member, you can see there's this factory exhaust hanger. So I went ahead and I cut just this random hanger off of a piece of exhaust I had in my yard, and it looks like it'll fit in there just perfect. I'm going to just see if I can pull this whole exhaust off, the downpipe and everything, all the way out. Maybe I can get the whole thing welded out. The exhaust is now cool. I can touch it. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna throw this exhaust in. This is from the turbo all the way to the axle, so to speak. It's actually just past the rear diff. We got the exhaust on, we got it installed. It's completely welded out. I'm gonna do something else I need to do. I'm going to install a wideband O2 sensor. So I've got the O2 sensor, a drill bit, and the welded bung for the exhaust, and I'm going to plan on putting it down here. I feel like the bottom of my downpipe is going to be a good location for that. I jacked the car up to see how it would be easiest to get this O2 sensor in there, and it's looking like it's going to be easiest to drop the entire exhaust. We got the exhaust out of the car. We've got the O2 sensor worked out. We drill a hole, weld the new bung in, and we should be ready to go. We got the exhaust bung welded on. Not necessarily my prettiest welds in the world, but they'll definitely seal. So I got this installed. That looks like a pretty good location to me. All right, so I got everything wired up. I think it should be good. I'm gonna go ahead and turn everything on, see what happens. Looks like it works. And wrapping up this exhaust, I'm also gonna need to put this dump in, and I got it shaped and ready so that I can recirculate my wastegate. It's pretty tight in there, but this is just gonna pop straight over into the downpipe, and that'll eliminate any sort of burning and stuff. You can see there's a bunch of soot that's already built up on the firewall. Got the exhaust out. I went ahead and got myself a hole saw so I can cut this hole in here. All right, and after fighting with this thing for quite some time, we went ahead and we got this dump tacked in place. Now that it's tacked in, I'm gonna take the V-band off the wastegate. I'm going to disconnect it from this turbo, drop the whole thing, weld everything out. Then when I'm done with that, I can put it back in and make sure everything works good. And final thing I'm gonna do while I've got this exhaust out and it's pulled is I need to weld up this seam, which was just tacked, and I need to finish welding up this exhaust hanger. Got everything welded up. I have not test fit it yet. I got it up in here, and I'm hoping it looks like it's all gonna line up decent. If you can see the V-band down there. It's the next morning, but we got everything welded up last night. We got it installed. It was dark. I tried to show it, but it just wasn't coming up on camera. You can see the dumps in there. It's looking pretty good. I got everything in there. I got it reheat wrapped. I got the O2 sensor back hooked up. And while I took care of all of that, I also jumped on and I've got a full exhaust now. It is completely finished. So before I had it all the way out to right before the fuel cell, but I went ahead, I completely finished it. I added another hanger. It's solid. I'm probably gonna whap that off a little bit better of an length, but for now, I just wanna get it on the road.